You're live.
Now we're live.
All right, we try this again. This is after 2100 on a Friday night. I'm Christopher Lowry. This is the Brushfire Mind. I've got Rod and Steve here with me, and we're going to talk a little bit. Now, apparently, it has happened, it come to my attention, that Steve and Rod aren't really tracking on this whole debacle with Trump and the Mexican judge. So I'm just going to summarize. Trump is involved in a lawsuit over Trump University. He's been accused of having run basically a fake university. Now, of course, the Donald claims to have thousands of letters of people just praising the university, saying they had a great experience, blah, 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 blah. But he's being sued over, there's a class action lawsuit, and it was started by one woman in particular, whose story is very interesting, and I apologize, I can't remember her name now. But as the story develops, Trump gets onto this Judge Curiel and says that he needs to recuse himself because he's a Mexican, or at least that's what the headlines say. Trump said this guy's a Mexican, and so he should recuse himself because he probably doesn't like the idea of my wall. And that's the statement, and that's what the headlines ran with. So as the story has developed over the last week, we learn more and more. I haven't heard anything in the news about Judge Curiel's parents and the circumstances under which they came to the country, but if you try to research his history, the Wikipedia article on the guy actually says his parents arrived either in 1920 or in 1946. That's unclear. Like, that's a pretty substantial discrepancy. Yeah. I'd like to hear a little more information about that. And the story develops a little more. And it turns out that it was not originally a class action suit. This woman brought the suit against Trump University, demanding her money back, but she is actually one of the people that wrote one of the glowing reviews for the university. She swore by it up and down. Oh yeah, it was a great experience, totally worth the money. It made my career, yada yada yada. And then suddenly she decided that she was going to sue to get her money back. 49 other states refused to hear the case, and then all of a sudden, this Mexican judge, and we keep hearing, oh no, he was born in America. Well, okay, he was born in America. His folks are Mexican immigrants. He's an Obama appointee and a member of La Raza.
Of what?
So Trump's a racist for saying that this guy, being a Mexican member of La Raza, cannot be trusted to make an impartial decision on a case that involves Donald Trump, who wants to build a wall. Now, to call Donald Trump a racist based on that is exactly the same. It is exactly the same as if a white man were to say, this black guy who is a known member of the Black Panthers cannot be trusted to render an impartial judgment for me. Or if a black man were to say, this white guy, this white judge who is a known member of the KKK cannot render an impartial verdict.
Okay.
That's where we are. Is Donald Trump is basically the black guy saying, no, this card-carrying, very public member of the KKK cannot be trusted to render an impartial verdict for this white guy. But of course, Donald brought up that the guy's a Mexican. What he should have said is he's a racist. He should have just straight called a spade a spade. Your Honor, isn't it the case that you are directly involved in a political organization whose express and stated motivation is to reclaim the western half of the United States for the nation of Aztlan, for the Azteci homeland, and return it to Mexican control. I mean, it's literally the Mexican version of the Black Panthers in the United States.
Interesting. I had no idea.
And so that's who this judge is. Thoughts? Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I almost forgot. It was not a class action suit until after everybody else refused to hear it, and this one La Raza member Obama appointee in Southern California decided to not only take the case, but to push the single plaintiff to push it to be a class action lawsuit. And the lawsuit is still ongoing despite the plaintiff having withdrawn from it. So there's nothing fishy there.
No, not at all. Wow.
That reminds me, am I hearable here? Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you, but I'm going to turn up your gain a little bit.
That reminds me of like some of that voting stuff. That they were trying to get photo ID. You're going to have your photo ID. And they had folks that were suing to keep it from happening. And they kept on getting ID. and the state kept going, well, it's kind of a moot point for this plaintiff and that plaintiff and this other plaintiff because they've had to go out and get ID. Because they discovered they needed ID for things other than just going to vote, right? So it's not unusual for your for one of your plaintiffs to implode, right? But I mean, how many people were stupid enough to go to Trump University to start with?
A lot.
Now,
apparently, a lot of them really said they liked it. I mean, one of the conflicts with this plaintiff is that she personally wrote a glowing letter of accolade referencing her experience with Trump University. She wrote this long letter about how much she loved it.
Well, I mean, it seems to me like that she would be stopped.
Yeah, it seems to me like the fact of that letter should have shut down any lawsuit she had to begin with.
Well, it's okay, Ogre. It's not going to stop him from winning.
Oh no, not at all.
They're making a lot of hay with it, but the more scrutiny comes to it, the better. Right?
Yes.
Because as it becomes scrutinized, then people see what's been done. Right? I mean, the story you're telling is very different than the story that's being told on the TV set. Now, isn't it?
Now, hey, that's the whole reason I even wanted to talk about it tonight. Is things. I think Milo Yiannopoulos says it best. Sunshine is the best disinfectant. We should shine it into all the little dirty corners of their lives, and that's why I wanted to talk about this exact topic tonight.
It's a good line.
Yeah, it is. He's a funny dude.
No, I don't know, honestly, Chris, what more there is to say to that. To be able to call out the fact that, yeah, he's a known member of a supremacist party it should kind of preclude him from trying the case.
But apparently not.
It's not. He's not directly involved with the case that way. But, yeah, I think that should cause some scrutiny.
Well, and let's keep in mind that this is happening in America that includes Supreme Court Justice Sotomayor, who, before she was appointed, was embroiled in a massive scandal of racism and sexism, and was directly responsible for throwing out the physical fitness standards for the police department, or I'm sorry, for the firefighters, in a couple of northeastern states. And when she was asked to speak on what qualified her to be Supreme Court Justice. She actually said the words, "I believe that a Latino woman has better judgment than white men."
Well, how many times, Auger, have we had the discussion about the whole long list of logical fallacies and biases? You know, it's like when are people going to learn that things aren't right with some folks? You know, they can't help themselves. I mean, they were proclaimed that their opposition is mentally ill to the point of like wanting to put them in a lockdown just because they opposed them on some issue. Did Ogre vanish?
No, it's here.
Okay, because your screenshot's frozen.
Oh.
So, we're still dealing with this Trotsky stuff. And this is how it manifests. I mean, it comes out like this. You know, everything that their opposition does is bad. You know, and they have to portray it that way. So, you know, I mean, how many bad things has mean old Donald Trump done? You know, his supporters outside, he sends them outside to their peril, to that mean old crowd outside. He actually lets those people leave and go outside knowing full well that they're going to be attacked by those mean old protesters outside. It's all his fault.
Yeah. Okay. Let's pivot then to the violent Trump protesters. I've seen several clips, and there's all this blame Trump going on. It's Trump's fault for the violence. Oh, what about that guy that got sucker punched at a Trump rally? Really? The guy that got sucker punched at a Trump rally? How about the kids? How about the Trump supporters trying to walk to the Trump rally that are having their clothing ripped off and being struck in the head with bricks and bags? How about the dozens of people who have filed police reports who are Trump supporters who have been hit in the head and had blood drawn?
Ogre, as you know, no hospital bill, no aggravated assault charge.
Ha 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 ha. And if you wear a mask and throw the brick from the crowd, there's also no aggravated assault charge. Since you guys mentioned that you missed the news this week, you may have also missed there's some scandal with one of the California mayors having been caught basically admitting that he gave stand-down orders to the police because his concern was that if they started arresting these protesters, the Trump attackers, the Bernie and Hillary protesters that are physically assaulting Trump supporters over political opinion, that if they were to arrest those people, that would incite the already violent crowd to more violence.
Well, it's just amazing how all these Trump supporters just lack backbone, you know, and common sense. I mean, it just amazes me that they just won't stand there and toe-to-toe it with these thugs out in the street, and that they would expect the police to come and stop this melee from ever occurring. Golly gee beef. You know, you'd expect them to be in, it's like they're going to some prayer meeting or something like that. And they've come out with their little Bibles in their little hands, and they've got their little religious fervor going on. And all of a sudden, these demons are outside coming to get them.
Well, interesting that typically
and somehow not dealing with the demons is going to make the demons even if you go and tell these little demon possessed people that they can't do this demon possessed stuff, that they're just going to get more demonic.
Well, I'm sorry. Oh, excuse me. You lost me.
Not really a show to me. It's more staggering around.
Well, let me say this about that.
Well, Ogre, what would it take? What would it take for you to go attack somebody in the United States that you didn't know their name, and you knew nothing about the person? You just know that they went to something, and you're going to kick their ass for it. Yeah. Where's that little mindset at? I'm going to go up. I know that guy right there, he just went somewhere, and I don't like what they do over there, so I'm going to attack him in the middle of the street. What sort of mindset does that take?
Are they Jews?
What would it take? What would it take? I mean, you're not going to get me to do it.
No, that's what I'm getting at. Are the victims Jews?
I don't know.
Is it time to burn? Is it time to build a new Auschwitz? Maybe that's why his name is Bernie. Hitler was also Jewish.
Yeah, I know. But I don't think Bernie's behind this, is he?
No, I don't. I wouldn't go that far.
It doesn't sound like a Bernie.
I would not be surprised to catch Hillary actually paying people to go and create the violence, to use professional community organizers to create this level of violence. I wouldn't put that past Hillary. I would be surprised to hear that coming out of Bernie.
In that vein, did you see the report about the massive amount of Twitter accounts that were somehow misprogrammed, and all of them that were supposed to be Hillary supporters posted the exact same tweet at the exact same time?
No.
Yeah, Google that one.
Toot toot. I'm gonna have to get my little toot toot devices out. I mean, it's starting to turn into get the little toy monkey out and let him go like this.
Yeah,
I mean,
the cheering section whenever something like that's pointed out.
Let me say this about the violence there too. You look at where this violence is happening, and you're outside of convention centers and whatnot, and you've got maybe a couple of hundred Trump supporters trying to get into the venue, and they are literally surrounded on both sides by thousands of people, most of whom are not actively engaged in the violence, but are there supporting the same cause as the violent activists,
and who are wearing, stepping in the middle of it,
who are wearing masks.
Well, they know that everybody that's going. They know that everybody that's going into the venue is disarmed.
Yes.
They are not. If you're going to a Trump rally, you don't have a knife and you don't have a gun. Therefore, you can, if you got your wallet, you can throw it at somebody.
And that is horrifying. Maybe we should all just strap on our ARs and go to the Trump rally.
Hang around outside with the good old boys and say, "How y'all doing today?"
Yeah, just hang out.
No, it'd be better to not have the rallies.
Just wave.
He's had enough rallies. He's had enough rallies. He doesn't have to hold these rallies where these people are going to get attacked and all that. That mean old man, that Donald Trump's causing all this to happen.
Yeah, free speech unless we disagree with it.
Yeah, and now you're going to run around saying Second Amendment this and Second Amendment that.
Hey, I'll say First Amendment this and First Amendment that too. It's one thing to have rights. It's quite another to capitulate to censorship and this level of bullying. But let me finish my point. You got a couple of hundred people trying to get into the venue, surrounded by thousands. I'm a 300-pound black belt with a revolver. I'm not swinging down against those odds, unless I'm on my way down and I'm going to draw and try to return fire before they finish me. I'm just not swinging out against 20, 30, 100-to-1 odds. It's bad math.
Well, what have they got against?
I can do it.
All they've got against Trump people right now, so far, is that when somebody shows out at one of his things, they start going Trump, 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 and they point at the guy, right? And then they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many Trump supporters inside a venue or outside a venue have actually done something that they've actually been able to complain about? The sucker punch is the one I know about. Is there another incident of some sort of violence among these illiterate fucking rednecks that support Trump?
No, not really.
It's a major point now. I mean, how violent are these rednecks that are and these illiterates that Trump's deceived so badly and he's brainwashing? how many of them are?
There's certainly no record of them shoving one poor little white girl up against the glass and beating her in the face with bricks and eggs.
Bricks and eggs. Do they serve those at Waffle House now?
Haven't they always?
Yeah. Oh no, they didn't add biscuits to the menu till a couple of years ago.
Oh well, there it is.
Lucky bucks.
Don't get it twisted. They grilled jalapeno biscuits with a little bit of sausage gravy over it. That's how you get one of these bellies like this. It
Still works too.
Ogre, you never met my favorite Waffle House cook. I used to carry him from one Waffle House to another before I ever met y'all, and his name was Worldwide. And you loved him.
I think you've told me about Worldwide. He talked real fast, didn't
he? Yeah, and he didn't have no teethuses.
That's right. He didn't have no chickens living that grill.
He's a black fella and he's Jewish. So, you know, kind of people I like to know. You know, good old dude, good old dude, good old dude. I can't see him getting in a fight with folks outside of nothing. He's always trying to stop people from getting in fights. That's why I'm bringing Worldwide up, right? You know, people are actually going to accomplish something. Don't engage in any kind of violent nothing. It doesn't get them anywhere. There's no benefit to it, right?
No. No. It's not that they don't engage.
The U.S. military is a different story, Ogre.
No, hang on. It's not that they don't engage in violence. They refuse to initiate violence. But it is unreasonable to not defend oneself against initiated violence. It's perfectly reasonable to engage in violence when it has been brought against you.
Well, I mean, if you're afraid for your life and you put somebody on the ground, I mean, you don't know what the jury's going to do to you. They might call you a racist.
Carried by foot.
You could end up in jail. I mean, unless you truly fear for your life, it's better to just run or something. That's what these people are doing. They're running. You can't trust a jury.
No, certainly not.
So, I mean, if they had some sort of like, ha, 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 Second Amendment, I'm just going to assert my rights and all this kind of stuff, they'd be standing there fighting. They don't trust that. That's why they're running instead of fighting.
Well, I don't know about that, too.
Yeah. You're a young guy.
Something about kind of trumps that. When you're staring down 500 people and there are 5 of you, it's stupid to fight back no matter what. Unless, of course, you cannot get away.
Oh, you don't think it'd be a fair fight?
Anyhow, you just try to take some with you because, you know.
Oh, come on. They're not going to jump in if you start winning, are they?
You're not going to start winning against a crowd of 500, brother.
Well, Ogre make a good start at it.
Even Ogre can't take on 20 guys at one time. And that is perfectly reasonable at a crowd of 500. 3 or 4, yeah, you give them a run for their money. Not 20, not 15.
I'd be all right with 15.
I don't know. We talking bricks and bags and anything else they can get a hold of too. I don't know. It's not anything I'd want to be in.
Anything they can get a hold of is something something that belongs in my hand now. The beauty of somebody bringing a weapon is that they haven't brought a weapon at me. They've brought a weapon to me.
Your weapon's my weapon.
But anything over about 15 fighters, and yeah, I'm in big trouble. And I ain't saying I'd just handle 15 easy. I come out of that messy, but when you start talking about numbers like that, it's one thing to say that you're fighting 15 people. It is quite another thing to say that 15 people can get around one another to attack you. You're never actually fighting more than 4 or 5.
Right, and I get that, but you get a whole lot more tired with the second and third wave of that.
Well, have they interviewed these attackers?
All right, we're digging a mud hole here. I mean, this conversation is really going nowhere. We're oscillating. Is there something else to talk about?
Right.
Have they interviewed any of the attackers yet?
No, they won't do that.
No, God no. And
most of the numbers, did they arrest any?
No.
Most of them you can't identify. They're a mess.
Yeah, most of them are wearing bandanas around their faces or masks of some sort.
So who's the police's loyalty to?
Oh, did you miss that bit earlier? I was saying one of the California mayors. I tell you what, I'll pull
No,
that
I
up.
heard that part, but I just couldn't believe that the police would stand by and watch this kind of mess.
Absolutely.
I mean, I heard you say that the mayor told him not to do it because it could get ugly, but I mean, does the mayor have that kind of power over the police department?
Apparently.
They're not going to stop people from getting their heads bashed in a precursor to a riot, with bricks and stuff being thrown through the air.
Now, and in fairness, I'll say this about any complaints that the police aren't doing their job. According to the Supreme Court, as recently as I believe it was 2005, Gonzales.
Oh, they don't got to, right?
Yeah, Gonzales. I think it was Gonzales versus Castle Rock or New Rock. The Supreme Court held that the police do not have a constitutional duty to defend or protect. And in that case, Mrs. Gonzales, when she brought her suit against the city, what had happened was she had taken out a protective restraining order against her violent wife and child beating drunk of an ex-husband, and had stated that she feared he would attempt to kidnap the children. When he attempted to kidnap the children, she called the police. They did not respond. After he kidnapped the children, she called the police again. They again did not respond. And the police got involved when the ex-husband showed up at the police station with the bodies of the 3 children and began firing at the police station. And in that case, that was the case in which the Supreme Court, let's see, 05? Yeah, so everybody that's on the Supreme Court now was involved in this decision.
Except for the one
that the police have no duty to protect. Now, in fairness, a similar finding happened in the mid to late 90s. I don't remember the name of that case, but mid to late 90s, there was another case where a suit was brought against the police for failure to protect, and the Supreme Court overthrew it out and said, no, there's no constitutional duty of the police to protect people. So the only thing, according to the Supreme Court, the police are really required to do is to prosecute crime and investigate and apprehend criminals.
Take a report.
Right. They're supposed to report that crime happened and punish people for having committed crimes, but not prevent
people. That's like that commercial that's on TV now.
Say again?
That's like that commercial that's on TV, the security guard in the bank. I'm just here to report.
Yeah. Yep. So here's the newspaper headline from.
This is what I think Trump ought to do. If you wanted to lose the election, he could open up a Trump brand of lipsticks, and all of his supporters are in need of a souvenir when they leave these convocations, right? And you can just let them all have a little lipstick for everybody knows that when they're leaving they're going to be disarmed, but maybe not this time.
Remember when baseball teams used to do that as a promo and they give out the little wooden bats?
Little Trump bat. Not a bobblehead.
I like it.
I think that's reasonable.
Souvenir.
Or maybe Trump branded ball team hammers.
It's a souvenir.
Yeah, absolutely. You hang it on the wall. Check the pressure in your tires with it or something,
And the police would proclaim that he was arming these people and inciting riots, and you can just hear here comes all the Trotsky and the Alinsky in the world. If you gave these people anything that they could use in any shape, form, or fashion to defend themselves when they're walking out in the street totally disarmed, then it would be proclaimed that he was this mean fucking Nazi. Even if it was just the packaging had a sharp edge or something.
Or glass bottles of grape strawberry mystic fruit juice.
Well, apparently there's supposed to be a Trump rally in Georgia next week. Yeah, that's a different creature.
I'll bet the crowd doesn't do what they're doing elsewhere in Georgia.
They'll get their riot before it's Some people don't have to have anything in their hand in order to decide that they're going to whoop your ass.
That's true.
You attack them. Oh, you threw a brick at me. Okay.
I believe that would be defined as on now.
Oh, boy.
I don't know. That'll be interesting to watch some reports of.
Well, I mean, it's like, think about that poor kid that raped that girl in the bushes. And those mean old graduate students came in. Those mean old graduate students came in, got him off of the woman while they was screwing her while she was unconscious. And they chased him down when he ran away from them, and they held him down till the police came. Those mean old graduate students.
Yeah, it impeded him from having.
Oh my God! They've kidnapped that poor child. They've ruined his chances of being an Olympic swimmer or whatever.
Man, that is some shit right there. Does anybody know that judge's background?
I don't.
But while you're talking about judges' backgrounds, I mean, we got a few of them we can talk about now, don't we?
Oh, well, just thinking about this one in particular,
some decision right there.
A rather strong leftist thing to do to let the attacker go, and everyone's acting like he's a conservative male and stereotypically anti-woman and misogynistic. I'm just curious. I didn't look up his background, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, you got these judges that are making decisions like this. I mean, but Jesus, I don't think that they're thinking very well.
I don't know. John Burton had a point in the fact of everything turning more libertarian than libertarian.
What's libertarian got to do with any of that?
The libertarian, all is permitted. There are no limits to anything. Now, if the judges are ruling that way, that does seem to be the way it's headed.
I got muted. That's anarchy.
Actually, you were the only one unmuted when I looked down.
I'm trying to predictably mute the both of them because you're both echoing back and forth across each other's feeds.
It's something in somebody else's delay. I think we've got some lag going on in a couple of spots that's causing that to happen. Because sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not. And I've got my volume turned down to where I can barely hear you. Your gain's lower than the
All right. Well, guys, we're a little early. We're a little early to call it, but I'm going to go ahead and call it since we're getting all this feedback and pop in the audio feed.
Yep. We always have technical difficulties.
So we're still developing this program, and we'll have the special coming out soon. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a privilege to have you with us this evening. We have had a couple of viewers pop in and out. We don't have any at the moment, but we have had several viewers pop in and out tonight. I've been watching the little pick up. But thanks for coming. Thanks for watching the show. Find us on Facebook and Twitter. Subscribe to the channel, and donate to Patreon. We appreciate your assistance. We appreciate all your help. And we all appreciate the humor and the irony of Rod with his little fake halo there. It's hilarious. And I'll show enough to y'all next Friday night at 2100 on Brushfire Night. But until then, remember, if you build a man a fire, you'll keep him warm for the evening. But if you set a man on fire, he'll be warm for the rest of his life.
Mighty warm.